I tried intermittent fasting for a week and I lost more weight this week than I've ever lost any other week of my life while I was dieting and exercising. Welcome to my channel. I'm Betsy. If you're new, I've been on a health journey and have managed to lose 30 pounds by following the Whole30 program. If you are new, hit that subscribe button and follow my journey. Today I'm going to share my experience with intermittent fasting. I first heard about intermittent fasting about 5 years ago in a Tim Ferriss podcast. At the time, it seemed outrageous and an impossible thing for me to do. I then revisited the idea last year with my friend Sherlyn. It was really difficult, and I gave up after fasting for just a few hours. And this time I decided to try it again because my friend Michelle has been doing intermittent fasting with a group of her girlfriends and told me about it, and I wanted to give it a try. The reason why I was so interested is because I heard that you can eat whatever you want and still lose weight, and for me that sounds like a dream come true. So what is intermittent fasting? In a nutshell, you don't eat for certain hours of the day, and it's recommended that you fast for 12 hours or longer, and the longer you fast, the more benefits, because our bodies store energy in two different forms. One is glycogen store and the other is fat, and depending on our sex and size, after a meal, glycogen store can typically keep our bodies running for about 12 hours. Once the glycogen store is depleted, then our body starts using up fat for fuel. But there's a problem when our body starts to use up fat as fuel. When our bodies start burning fat molecules are broken down into smaller molecules called fatty acids that are sent into the bloodstream and absorbed by different organs. But the problem with that is that our brains don't absorb fatty acids. Our brains mostly run on glucose, but our body is an incredible machine, and the way that it fixes that problem is through a process called ketogenesis. And through ketogenesis, our livers absorb those fatty acids and breaks them down into smaller molecules called ketones that can be absorbed by the brain. I'm sure you've heard of the keto diet or ketosis or ketones. The keto diet is very popular. It's everywhere. And in order to get to a state of ketosis, there's a few different ways to get there. One of them is by following the very strict keto diet. Another way is through intermittent fasting. I decided to do intermittent fasting because the thought of being able to have pancakes and French toast in the morning and cookies and ice cream as a midday snack, that just sounded way too good to be true, and I definitely couldn't pass up on that. So how was my intermittent fasting experience? To log my fast, I used an app called Life that Michelle introduced me to, and she added me to a group that she was part of with her friends. This app is really easy to use. You pick the amount of hours that you want to fast, hit start, and then end your fast whenever you're ready. I aimed to fast for 16 hours every day, but I started with a 14-hour fast. In addition to the Life app, I kept a journal where I logged everything as far as my mood, my energy, my cravings, and I also made sure to weigh myself before I started fasting. Good morning. I'm gonna go weigh myself and see what my starting weight is. So my starting weight is 157 pounds. I'm really curious to see how much weight, if any, I'm gonna lose this week. What I was expecting while I was fasting, I thought I was gonna be hangry all the time, possibly cravings. I thought I was gonna have very low energy, and I thought that I was going to eat a bunch of foods that I wouldn't normally eat, but my experience was actually the complete opposite. Intermittent fasting overall is just the complete opposite of everything that I thought you needed to do. I always thought that if you went too many hours without eating, that would lead your body to go into starvation mode, that would slow down your metabolism and cause you to gain weight. I thought that in order to lose weight, I needed to eat 6 small meals a day to boost my metabolism. I thought I had to exercise, track calories, and definitely needed to stay away from treats like cake and cookies and all that other good bad stuff. So what did I have while I was fasting? I had a lot of water, and some experts say that you can have black tea and coffee. Other experts like Dr. Rhonda Patrick and Satcham Panda say that even black coffee and tea will break a fast because they're xenobiotics. So when you consume that gets your metabolism going, and it basically triggers it to start working. I decided to completely skip any black coffee and tea only because I've heard that while you're doing intermittent fasting, you have extra energy, and I wanted to make sure that if I did feel a boost in energy, I wanted to be able to pinpoint it to me fasting rather than me being loaded up on caffeine. As far as foods that I had when I wasn't fasting, I thought I was going to be splurging on pizza and all of these other unhealthy things that I wouldn't normally have. But because I was fasting for long periods of time, when it was time for me to break my fast, I actually wanted to eat healthy. I wanted to make sure that the first thing that I put in my body was something nutrient rich and good for me. So it actually had the complete reverse effect, and instead of breaking my fast with unhealthy foods, I opted for healthy, nutritious foods. The shortest fast I did was 14 hours and 25 minutes, and the longest fast that week was 25 hours. My intention wasn't to fast that long, but the app that I use has different markers. So when you reach 16 hours, it'll tell you that you're in ketosis. When you get to 19 hours, it tells you that you're in heavy ketosis. And at 25 hours, you are in the state of autophagy. The point of autophagy is very interesting. It's essentially the point where your body, your cells start to regenerate. So all of our cells have a lifetime, and when they die, they start to excrete toxins that can potentially cause cancer. Now, when you're in autophagy, your cells are trying to be as efficient as possible, and they start eating old cells and recreating new ones. If you're interested in learning more about autophagy, I will link resources in the description down below to information about Yoshinori Ohsumi, who won the Nobel Prize in 2016 for his work in autophagy. While initially my goal with intermittent fasting was strictly only for weight loss, knowing all of the benefits that I'm doing for my body by going prolonged periods of time without eating, that pushed me to want to keep fasting longer. And as I mentioned, my app shows me when I hit different markers. So my first fast was 14 hours and 25 minutes. Now the second fast that I did after that, I was shooting for 16 hours when my body's in ketosis. But of course, all of our bodies are different, and I can't just rely on an app that tells me when my body's in ketosis. So what I did is I went to CVS and I got ketone strips to test whether or not I was in ketosis. Getting the ketone strips also helped me push for longer fasts because I wanted to turn that ketone strip purple. I've been fasting for 24 and a half hours. My app says I'm in heavy ketosis, so I'm going to do a ketone strip and see where I am. Hopefully I'm in this purple section. Ooh, yeah. When I got the ketone strips to find out whether I was in ketosis or not, I discovered that I need to fast longer to get to a state of ketosis the times that I have sugar. So the less sugar I eat, the less I have to fast to get to a state of ketosis. With that said, let me go over what I ate in a day. The first day, I had a grilled chicken salad with strawberries, grapes, balsamic vinegar, olive oil. Later that day, and this really got me in trouble, I went and I got a smoothie from my favorite smoothie place. They use all organic ingredients. The smoothie that I got is called a strawberry shortcake smoothie, and it literally tastes like a strawberry shortcake. It's so delicious. Now the problem with this is that after that, my sugar cravings were out of control. I didn't feel bad having it, but just having that many sugar cravings wasn't good for me. So after that day, I decided no more smoothies. Later that day, I had beef stew, hoping that that would tone down my sugar craving. It has the bone-in and the marrow, and that's gonna give the soup a really good, rich flavor. But it didn't. And then I went and I had banana bread. So every time I check the stew, this is what I have to look at as well. Look at these scones and this croissant and dulce de leche. The next day, although my goal was to not have any coffee, I did have coffee because I wanted to suppress my appetite, suppress my cravings, and I thought it was better just to have a cup of coffee than to go on with my day wanting something sweet. This day I fasted for 25 hours, and my notes say that I felt very alert and energetic, and I questioned whether it was coffee or the fast. I had one meal and I had pot roast and wanted a mango, but decided to skip because I didn't want to have any more sugar since I was struggling with my sugar cravings. The third day I stopped fasting at 2:15 p.m. I had pot roast, mango, a banana, 3 slices of banana bread. So after that meal, I hit that button and I started fasting again. I felt fine, and around 7 p.m. I had some cravings and felt hungry. Throughout the week that I was fasting, I did notice that I had cravings at night, and that's when I felt the weakest. I don't think it was necessarily that I was hungry, it's just that I wasn't doing anything. Maybe I was watching TV and I'm used to snacking while I watch TV, and I think it was more of a habit. So I did notice that I tend to snack a lot. Even if it's like a banana late in the evening, that's still food, that's still something that my body needs to metabolize. So I did notice that I tend to snack quite a bit. A couple of times that I wanted to give in, I would just remind myself that the food was there the next morning, and if I wanted to have pancakes and French toast, I definitely could, but I just needed to hold off. That's how I managed to trick my mind, and the next day when it was time to break my fast, I always opted to make healthy decisions, so it kind of worked out in my favor. So you're probably curious and wondering how much weight I lost during this week of fasting, and I lost 4 pounds. I was down to 153. Am I able to lose weight and eat whatever I want? I'm not sure, because I did eat healthy this week, and the times that I slipped up, I fasted for a very long time. So my fasting times, I fasted for 14 hours and 25 minutes. I fasted 25 hours, 18 hours, 17 hours, 24 hours. So I was fasting for a long time. If I'm fasting 14 hours and eating a bunch of junk food, I'm really not sure. But don't worry, I'm going to test it and I will let you know. Stay tuned for that. I will experiment with myself and check back with you all and let you know if I really can eat pancakes and cookies and ice cream and still lose weight.